What if a black CEO poised to board his own private jet was stopped by a prejudiced supervisor only to ground an entire airline with a single phone call? Welcome to the silent strike from the tarmac, a story that'll grip your heart and shatter your expectations with a twist so seismic it'll leave you speechless. Picture this: a sleek Gulfstream G700 waits on a Chicago runway, its owner a titan of industry barred by an arrogant gatekeeper who underestimates his power. One call later, the skies fall silent and a revolution begins. Buckle up, this tale of prejudice, resilience, and jaw-dropping redemption is about to take you on a turbulent ride. The private terminal at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport was a sanctuary of exclusivity. Its polished granite floors and frosted glass walls, a stark contrast to the chaotic bustle of the main concourses. The air carried the faint scent of jet fuel and leather, mingling with the soft hum of a climate-controlled lounge where elite travelers sipped espresso and checked stock tickers on their phones. Beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, the tarmac gleamed under the morning sun, a Gulfstream G700 jet parked like a sleek predator, its silver fuselage catching the light, a symbol of wealth and ambition. The terminal was a world apart, where every detail from the concierge's tailored suit to the biometric security scanners affirmed status, and those who served the privileged moved with practiced deference. But today that deference was about to be tested, and the quiet hum of privilege would erupt into a storm that would ground an empire. Malcolm Reed moved through the terminal with the ease of a man who owned the spaces. He entered his tailored charcoal suit, fitting his 55-year-old frame like a second skin, its subtle sheen a testament to his quiet power. A black man with salt and pepper hair and a face etched with the wisdom of decades in boardrooms and battlegrounds. Malcolm was the founder and CEO of Horizon Ventures, a conglomerate that controlled industries from tech to aviation, including Ascendair, the airline operating this terminal. His sharp eyes, framed by wire-rimmed glasses, scanned the lounge with a strategist's precision, missing nothing. The hurried glance of a ground crew member, the smug nod of a waiting passenger, the faint buzz of a radio in the distance. Behind him trailed his assistant, Marcus Tate, a 30-year-old rising star in a navy blazer, his arms laden with briefcases, his quick steps betraying a mix of purpose and nerves. Malcolm's presence was magnetic, his every move deliberate, a man who thrived on high-stakes moments, like the one awaiting him today, a series of meetings that could reshape the aviation industry. But as he approached the jet, his world was about to collide with a barrier he hadn't anticipated: the Gulfstream G700. Malcolm's personal jet stood ready on the tarmac, its sleek lines and custom Horizon Ventures logo, a testament to his vision. This wasn't just a flight, it was a statement, a journey to secure a merger that would cement his legacy. Malcolm's mind flickered to the path that had brought him here, from a Chicago South Side kid who'd clawed his way through Ivy League scholarships and corporate biases to a titan who owned the skies. He'd faced worse than gatekeepers, hostile takeovers, regulatory battles, whispered slurs, and mahogany-paneled rooms. But today's challenge would test his restraint in a way few had. He nodded politely to the ground crew, their navy uniforms crisp, their deference routine unaware of the storm brewing. Lila Nguyen, a 25-year-old ground crew member with a quick smile and a knack for tech, adjusted her headset nearby, her eyes flicking to Malcolm with curiosity, sensing something extraordinary in his calm Mr. and Mrs. Carver. Elitist passengers waiting for their own jet lounged in the terminal, their pearl necklace and pinstripe suit a badge of privilege, their smug glances a silent endorsement of the status quo. As Malcolm approached the jet's boarding ramp, a young man stepped in front of him, his navy uniform barely worn, his clipboard clutched like a shield. Kyle Bennett, a 24-year-old supervisor new to Ascendair, stood with a cocky tilt to his head, his pale face set in a stubborn frown, his blue eyes narrowing as he scanned Malcolm from head to toe. "I'm sorry, sir," Kyle said, his voice firm, but tinged with uncertainty. "This jet's not available to the public. You'll need clearance to board." The words landed like a slap, the assumption in Kyle's tone, a mix of arrogance and dismissal, cutting through the terminal's calm. Malcolm stood still, his expression unreadable, his charcoal suit a quiet armor. As the air thickened with tension, Marcus stepped forward, his navy blazer creased, his voice urgent but professional. "There's a mistake," he said, holding up his phone, its screen displaying an email with flight logs, security clearances, and proof of Malcolm's ownership. "This is Mr. Reed's jet. He's the CEO of Horizon Ventures, Ascendair's parent company." Kyle barely glanced at the screen, his smirk widening his clipboard, a prop of false authority, "I don't care who you say you are," he said, his tone dripping with condescension, his eyes flicking to Marcus, then back to Malcolm. "You need proper paperwork to be on this runway." The dismissal was blatant, the implication clear. Malcolm, despite his suit, his presence, his power, didn't look like he belonged in Kyle's narrow world. Lila, adjusting her headset nearby, froze, her instincts kicking in as she slipped her phone from her pocket. Her thumb hitting record, capturing the exchange with a tech analyst's precision. The Carvers lounging in the terminal exchanged smirks. Mrs. Carver's pearl necklace glinting as she whispered, "Some people think they own everything." Her approval of Kyle's stance, a quiet jab, Mr. Carver nodded his pinstripe suit, a silent endorsement, their privilege, a shield they wielded without thought. Malcolm's jaw tightened, a flicker of frustration crossing his face, but his voice remained calm, deliberate, a strategist's weapon. "This is my jet," he said, his words a quiet challenge, his eyes locking onto Kyle's, daring him to double down. Kyle's smirk faltered, but his arrogance held his gaze, darting to two security guards nearby, their Navy uniforms bulky, their hands on radios as they stepped closer. "Sir, step aside," Kyle said, signaling the guards, his voice sharper now, his clipboard a futile prop. "We'll escort you to the office." The guards moved in, their eyes uncertain but their steps obedient, unaware of the titan they were challenging. Marcus opened his mouth to protest, but Malcolm placed a hand on his shoulder, his touch steady, silencing him. "No need," Malcolm said, his voice low, his calm a storm's prelude. The terminal's hum faded, passengers turning, some filming, others whispering, the tension, a living thing. Malcolm's eyes never left Kyle's, his strategist's mind calculating every move, every consequence. He'd faced this before, gatekeepers who saw his skin before his power, who assumed he was less than his achievements. But this was different. This was his jet, his airline, his empire, and Kyle's arrogance wasn't just personal. It was a symptom of a rotten culture Malcolm had vowed to uproot. He reached into his pocket, his fingers closing around his phone, his movements deliberate, unhurried. The guards hesitated, sensing something in Malcolm's calm, their radios crackling with static, their authority wavering. Lila's video now uploading to her social media captioned, "Supervisor denies CEO access to his own jet." Huge mistake began to spread its views, climbing to 10,000 in seconds. Norjet. Scandal trending. The Carvers leaned forward, their smugness shifting to unease. Mrs. Carver's whisper, faltering, "He doesn't look like a CEO." Her bias exposed. Malcolm dialed a number, his thumb precise, his voice low as the call connected. "Activate the protocol." He said, his words crisp, final, carrying the weight of a guillotine. He hung up, his gaze still on Kyle, his charcoal suit a quiet declaration of power. The terminal's stillness was pierced by a sudden alert on Kyle's phone, his face paling as he read the message. "Emergency shareholder override protocol activated, code eclipse." His hands trembled, his clipboard slipping, his cocky smirk gone, replaced by confusion, then dread. Malcolm's voice was soft, almost gentle, but it cut like a blade. "You've made a mistake, son," he said, his eyes piercing, "and now you'll see what happens when you underestimate the wrong man." The terminal erupted in quiet chaos, ground crew members checking their phones, their faces draining of color as alerts flooded in. All Ascendair operations suspended until further notice. Radios crackled, supervisors shouting, passengers murmuring, the lounge's calm shattered by the weight of Malcolm's command. Lila's video hit 50,000 views, comments raging. "He's the CEO, and fire that supervisor." The guards stepped back, their hands dropping from their radios, their eyes wide as they sensed the shift, their obedience to Kyle crumbling. Marcus, his briefcases still in hand, stared at Malcolm, his awe tempered by nerves, his voice a whisper. "Sir, you grounded the airline." Malcolm's smile was faint, his strategist's mind already 3 steps ahead. "Not just the airline," he said, "the culture." Kyle's voice trembled, his clipboard a futile shield. "What's happening?" he stammered, his arrogance evaporating, his blue eyes darting to the guards, then back to Malcolm. "You can't do this." Malcolm's gaze was unrelenting, his voice calm but weighted. "I already have," he said, turning on his heel, his charcoal suit a quiet storm as he walked back toward the lounge, Marcus trailing, his briefcases rattling. The terminal's chaos grew, staff scrambling, passengers filming, the Carvers frozen, their elitist smirks gone, Mr. Carver muttering, We didn't know his pinstripe suit, a humbled shell. Lila's video hit 100,000 views. Hashtag grounded truth trending comments, a global outcry. He owns the jet injustice for Malcolm. Malcolm paused at the lounge's edge, his phone buzzing with a text from Nora Ellis, a trusted executive at Horizon Ventures Protocol, activated boardroom meeting scheduled. Awaiting your orders, he typed a quick reply, his fingers steady. Proceed with suspensions, full restructure. The message was a guillotine, its implications vast. Ascendair's leadership, its culture, its very existence now hung by a thread. Kyle, now surrounded by frantic ground crew, clutched his phone, his face ashen as he read the alerts, his career unraveling in real time. Leela approached her headset, off her voice soft but bold. Mr. Reed, I recorded it, she said, showing her phone the video, now at 200,000 views. The world needs to see this. Malcolm's nod was faint, his strategist's mind recognizing an ally. Keep it spreading, he said, his voice a quiet command. The terminal's chaos intensified, radios, blaring, supervisors shouting orders that no one followed, the ground crew's efficiency collapsing under the weight of Malcolm's protocol. Passengers in the lounge stood, their phones raised, some filming. Others whispering in awe, the Carvers retreating to a corner, their privilege exposed, Mrs. Carver's pearl necklace, a futile adornment. Malcolm's call had activated a clause in Ascendair's bylaws inserted during his silent investor days, granting him unilateral power to override operations if shareholder value or brand integrity was at risk. With one word, eclipse, he'd halted every flight, suspended every executive, and set a corporate earthquake in motion. The Gulfstream G700, still on the tarmac, stood as a silent witness, its Horizon Ventures logo, a reminder of the man who owned it all. Malcolm turned to Marcus, his voice low. Get the car, he said, his eyes on the terminal's chaos, his strategist's mind already mapping the next phase. Marcus nodded, his briefcases. A quiet burden, his awe for Malcolm, a growing fire. Lila's video hit 500,000 views. Comments, a global roar. He grounded the airline, and Malcolm Reed's a legend. The ground crew scattered, their Navy uniforms a blur, their radios crackling with panic. All flights canceled. Kyle sank onto a bench, his clipboard forgotten, his face buried in his hands, his arrogance a casualty of his own ignorance. The Carvers, now silent, slipped out, their elitist world. Shaken, Mr. Carvers whispered to his wife. A confession. We backed the wrong side. The terminal, once a sanctuary of privilege, was now a stage for Malcolm's silent strike. Its chaos a prelude to a reckoning that would reshape an empire and inspire a world watching in awe. The private terminal at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport was a maelstrom of controlled chaos, its polished granite floors and frosted glass walls reverberating with the fallout of Malcolm Reed's silent strike. Moments ago, Malcolm, the 55-year-old black CEO of Horizon Ventures, had been denied boarding his own Gulfstream G700 by Kyle Bennett, a prejudiced supervisor whose arrogance ignited a firestorm. With one phone call, Malcolm activated a shareholder protocol, code eclipse, halting all Ascendair operations, grounding flights, and suspending executives. His power as majority shareholder, a guillotine that severed the airline's hubris. Lila Nguyen's viral video, capturing Kyle's dismissive, I don't care who you say you are, had skyrocketed to 2 million views with hashtags Norjet scandal and grounded truth trending, globally turning Ascendair into a symbol of corporate failure. Malcolm, in his tailored charcoal suit, stood in the lounge, his wire-rimmed glasses reflecting the terminal's chaos, his strategist's mind 3 steps ahead. Marcus Tate, his 30-year-old assistant, hovered nearby. His navy blazer creased his briefcases, a quiet burden. His awe for Malcolm, a growing fire. Lila, the 25-year-old ground crew member, clutched her phone, her video, a catalyst for justice, her quick smile, a spark of defiance. Nora Ellis, a Horizon Ventures executive, was en route to the boardroom. Her support a key to Malcolm's plan. Mr. and Mrs. Carver, the elitist passengers, had retreated, their pearl necklace and pinstripe suit dimmed by shame. Their earlier smirks a lesson learned. The terminal was no longer a sanctuary of privilege. It was a battlefield, and Malcolm's grounded truth was about to deliver a verdict that would shake Ascendair to its core. The lounge's hum was drowned by radios crackling with panic, ground crew members scrambling, their Navy uniforms a blur as they relayed orders. All flights canceled. Passengers whispered, their phones raised, filming the chaos. Some in awe, others frustrated by delays. The terminal's exclusivity shattered by Malcolm's command. Lila's video, now at 3 million views, fueled a digital uprising, comments raging. He's the CEO and Kyle's finished. News alerts flashed Ascendair grounded by CEO's power move while social media erupted. Silent strike, trending alongside. Hat Norjet scandal workers sharing stories of corporate bish inspired by Malcolm's stand. Kyle slumped on a bench, his clipboard forgotten, stared at his phone. Its alerts, a death knell. Emergency board meeting. Report immediately. His face paled, his cocky smirk gone, his career unraveling, as the weight of his mistake crushed him. The Carvers, now in a corner, avoided eye contact. Mr. Carver muttering, "We didn't know he owned it." His pinstripe suit, a humbled shell. Mrs. Carver's pearl necklace, a futile adornment. Malcolm's phone buzzed a text from Nora boardroom. "Ready, video feed live, your move." He typed a reply, his fingers steady. "Proceed with suspensions, expose the fund." His strategist's mind was a chessboard. Each move calculated his calm, a storm's prelude. He turned to Marcus, his voice low. "Stay here," he said, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting. "Monitor the fallout." Marcus nodded, his briefcases grounded his voice. A whisper. "You're rewriting history, sir." Malcolm's smile was faint, his eyes on the terminal's chaos. "History's written by those who act," he said, stepping toward a private office. Its glass door, a portal to the boardroom, reckoning awaiting via video call. Lila approached, her headset off, her voice bold. "Mr. Reed, the video's at 4 million views," she said, her phone a beacon of truth. "People are with you." Malcolm's nod was resolute, his strategist's mind recognizing an ally. "Keep it spreading," he said, his voice a quiet command, his charcoal suit a declaration of power. Inside the office, Malcolm connected to the boardroom feed, the screen flickering to life, revealing a mahogany table surrounded by Ascendair's board. 10 executives in tailored suits, their faces pale, their confidence shattered, the room a glass-walled fortress. In Ascendair's headquarters was a pressure cooker, its air thick with dread, the executive's eyes darting to the screen where Malcolm's image appeared. His charcoal suit and wire-rimmed glasses, a quiet storm. Nora Ellis, a 45-year-old executive with a sharp bob and a navy dress, stood at the table's edge, her presence a counterpoint to the board's panic, her loyalty to Malcolm. "A key to his plan, gentlemen." Malcolm began, his voice smooth, deliberate, cutting through the room like a blade. "Let's talk about accountability." The words landed like a thunderclap, the board's silence, a verdict. Their tailored suits, a facade of authority now crumbling under Malcolm's gaze. The executives shifted, some glancing at phones, buzzing with alerts. All operations suspended. SEC probe initiated. Others stared at Malcolm, their defiance fading, their realization dawning. Darius, the silent investor they'd underestimated, was no longer silent. This morning, Malcolm continued, his voice calm but weighted. "I was denied access to my own jet by a supervisor who assumed I didn't belong. That wasn't a mistake, it was a symptom of a culture you've allowed to fester." He clicked a remote, the screen displaying Lila's video. Kyle's dismissive, "I don't care who you say you are," echoing the board, wincing as the clip played, now at 5 million views, comments raging. "He owns the airline and end corporate racism." Malcolm's eyes narrowed, his strategist's precision sharp. "This isn't about Kyle," he said. "It's about a system that lets arrogance trump integrity, where employees like him thrive because you've failed to lead." Nora stepped forward, her navy dress. A quiet rebellion, her voice clear. "Mr. Reed's protocol, Code Eclipse, invokes a bylaw granting him unilateral power to override operations," she said, passing documents to the board, their pages detailing Malcolm's 60% shareholder stake. "He's suspended your leadership, effective immediately, pending investigation." The board gasped, faces paling, some muttering, others froze in their tailored suits, a hollow shell. Malcolm's voice rose, his calm, a storm's edge. "I've uncovered a $3 million board fund," he said, clicking to a slide showing financial records used to shield biased employees, like Kyle, bearing complaints from workers and passengers. "The SEC's investigating, and you're all implicated." The room erupted in whispers, the chairman, a 65-year-old with a silver mane, slamming his fist. "This is outrageous," he barked, his voice trembling. "You can't dismantle us." Malcolm's gaze was unrelenting, his voice a quiet guillotine. "I already have," he said, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting. Lila's video hit 6 million views. Passengers in the terminal, sharing clips, comments demanding reform. Malcolm's a titan and Ascendair's done. The board's panic grew, executives glancing at Nora. her loyalty to Malcolm a betrayal they hadn't foreseen. "You've enabled a culture of prejudice," Malcolm said, his voice rising, his strategist's mind a weapon. "Kyle didn't act alone. He was emboldened by your silence. You prioritize elite passengers like the Carvers over integrity, rigging seating policies to favor wealth and whiteness." He clicked to an email chain uncovered by a whistleblower, showing a board deal to prioritize platinum members, bypassing standard procedures. "This ends now," he said, his words a verdict. The board's faces ashen, their complicity exposed. Mr. Carver, watching from the terminal lounge, approached Marcus. His pinstripe suit creased, his voice low. "We didn't know he was the CEO," he said, his earlier smirk gone, his apology. "A small atonement. We'll support his reforms." Marcus nodded, his briefcases, a quiet anchor, his voice firm. "Support starts with accountability," he said, echoing Malcolm's ethos. Mrs. Carver, her pearl necklace dimmed, whispered, "We were wrong," her elitist world shaken, her silence a confession. Lila's video hit 7 million views. Silent Strike, a global movement, workers worldwide sharing stories of corporate bias inspired by Malcolm's stand, comments praising his calm. "He's rewriting the rules." Malcolm's next move was seismic, his voice steady. "I'm assuming interim CEO control," he said, the board gasping, their tailored suits a futile shield. "We'll restructure Ascendair, new leadership, mandatory bias training, transparent policies. The funds dissolved and regulators will audit every deal you've made." Nora's voice joined her documents, a guillotine. "3 executives are already indicted," she said, naming board members tied to the fund, their resignations imminent. The chairman's voice trembled, his defiance crumbling. "You're destroying us," he said. But Malcolm's response was calm, cutting. "I'm saving you," he said, "but only if you work with me. Choose now, reform or ruin." The board's silence was a surrender, their votes unanimous, their tailored suits a humbled shell as they approved Malcolm's plan. "Good." Malcolm said, his voice a quiet command. "The real work begins." He ended the call, the screen fading the boardroom, a graveyard of their former power. Lila's video hit 8 million views. Passengers in the terminal applauding, some filming, others sharing the clip, comments. A global roar. He took them down, and Malcolm's a legend. Kyle escorted to HR, face termination, his clipboard a relic, his face buried in shame, his career a casualty of his own hubris. The Carvers, now silent, boarded their jet. Their elitist world shattered their support for Malcolm, a desperate plea for redemption. Malcolm stepped back into the lounge, his charcoal suit a quiet storm, his wire-rimmed glasses reflecting the terminal's chaos. Marcus approached his briefcases, grounded, his voice awed. "You've changed everything, sir," he said. Malcolm's smile was faint, his strategist's mind on the next phase. "We're just starting," he said, his eyes on the Gulfstream G700, still waiting its Horizon Ventures logo, a promise of a new era. Lila's video hit 10 million views. Chipper grounded. "Truth, a global call," comments demanding change. Rebuild Ascendair. The terminal, once a stage for prejudice, was now a crucible for Malcolm's vision. Its chaos a prelude to a revolution that would reshape an airline and inspire a world watching in awe. The private terminal at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport had settled into an uneasy calm, its polished granite floors and frosted glass walls bearing witness to the seismic shift ignited by Malcolm Reed's silent strike. Days ago, Malcolm, the 55-year-old black CEO of Horizon Ventures, had been denied boarding his Gulfstream G700 by supervisor Kyle Bennett, whose prejudiced dismissal prompted Malcolm to activate Code Eclipse, a shareholder protocol that grounded Ascendair's entire operation, suspended its leadership, and exposed a toxic culture of bias. Lila Nguyen's viral video capturing Kyle's arrogant, "I don't care who you say you are," had soared to 20 million views with hashtags, #Norjet Scandal, Grounded, Truth, and #Silent Strike, trending globally, transforming Ascendair into a cautionary tale and Malcolm into a beacon of justice. Malcolm, in his tailored charcoal suit, stood in a renovated hangar, his wire-rimmed glasses reflecting the gleam of Horizon Air's new fleet, his strategist's mind envisioning a legacy beyond the chaos. Marcus Tate, his 30-year-old assistant, managed operations nearby, his Navy blazer, a quiet badge of loyalty, his briefcase replaced by a tablet buzzing with updates. Lila, the 25-year-old ground crew member, had become a whistleblower. Advocate, her phone a tool for change, her quick smile a spark of hope. Nora Ellis, the Horizon Ventures executive, led the airline's restructuring, her navy dress a symbol of reform. Mr. and Mrs. Carver, the elitist passengers, had faded into obscurity. Their pearl necklace and pinstripe suit humbled their earlier smugness. A lesson learned: the terminal was no longer a stage for prejudice. It was a crucible for Malcolm's vision, and the new Horizon Air was rising from Ascendair's ashes, a testament to the grounded truth that integrity triumphs over arrogance. The fallout from Malcolm's strike was relentless. Lila's video, now at 25 million views, had sparked a global movement, comments flooding in Malcolm's "a titan and end corporate racism." Major news outlets ran exposés: CEO's silent strike, topples airline, and Ascendair's collapse. A lesson in accountability, while influencers amplified the clip, turning hashtag silent strike into a rallying cry for workplace equity. Workers worldwide shared stories of corporate slights, ignored complaints, biased promotions echoing Malcolm's stand, their voices a chorus inspired by the tarmac. The SEC probe, triggered by Malcolm's evidence of a $3 million board fund shielding biased employees, led to indictments of 5 executives, including the chairman. Their tailored suits, no shield against legal ruin. Ascendair stock plummeted, but Horizon Ventures' acquisition of its assets birthed Horizon Air, a new airline with a fleet of 50 jets and a culture rooted in respect, transparency, and excellence. Social media hailed Malcolm's vision. Posts trending Horizon Air's the future, and Malcolm Reed's changing the game. Inside the hangar, Malcolm stood before a gleaming Airbus A320, its Horizon Air logo, a silver promise against a Navy fuselage, the scent of fresh paint and polished metal filling the air. The space winds, a cold relic of Ascendair's arrogance, buzzed with purpose. Ground crew in crisp uniforms, moving with precision, their faces lit with pride. Alex Carter, a 32-year-old pilot who'd survived the purge, approached his Navy cap, tilted his voice steady. "Thank you, Mr. Reed," he said, extending a hand, his gratitude deep. "This airline's ours now." Malcolm shook his hand, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting, his voice calm but firm. "It's everyone's," he said, his strategist mind envisioning a company where every worker was seen. Alex nodded, his role in Horizon Air's first flight, a symbol of renewal, his loyalty to Malcolm's vision. A quiet fire, Kyle faced a brutal reckoning. Terminated within hours of the tarmac incident, his name became synonymous with hubris. Older videos surfacing of his dismissive treatment of minority passengers sealing his disgrace. Online memes of his "I don't care" moment trended his career, a trending punchline, his legal fees piling up as he faced a civil suit from Horizon for reputational damage. In a surprising twist, Kyle contacted the Horizon Equity Initiative a year later, offering to volunteer at a Chicago community center, seeking redemption. Malcolm met him, his gaze piercing but open. "Actions speak louder than words," he said, his wisdom a guide. Kyle's commitment to mentoring youth earned cautious respect, his transformation a quiet echo of Malcolm's influence. Though the sting of his prejudice lingered, the Carvers, humbled, donated $100,000 to the Equity Initiative, their public apology a small atonement. "We failed to challenge bias," Mrs. Carver said, her pearl necklace dimmed by shame. Mr. Carver added, "We're with Mr. Reed, his pinstripe suit, a humbled shell." Their influence redirected to support reform. Lila's role as a whistleblower grew, her blog Sky Truth partnering with Maya Kim, a Chicago Tribune journalist whose article "The Tarmac Titan, Malcolm Reed's Revolution" went viral, sparking corporate reforms nationwide. Airlines adopted Horizon's equitable seating policies, with competitors pledging transparency, their CEOs citing Malcolm's stand as a wake-up call. Lila's video hit 30 million views, comments a global call. "He rebuilt the skies and respect every passenger." Malcolm's reforms were transformative. Horizon Air launched with 5,000 employees, each vetted for integrity, their training rooted in bias awareness and accountability. The Reed Respect Initiative, a $5 million program, funded mentorship for underserved youth and passenger advocacy. Its suggestion, box modeled on Malcolm's vision, overflowing with ideas. More diverse pilots and better crew hours. At a staff rally, Malcolm stood before thousands. His charcoal suit, a quiet rebellion, his voice resonant. "This airline isn't about profit, it's about people," he said, his wire-rimmed glasses glinting. "You're not just employees, you're the heart of Horizon." The crowd roared, Nora at his side, her navy dress a symbol of progress. her leadership in restructuring a cornerstone of the airline's rebirth. Alex, now a lead pilot, clapped his Navy cap, a badge of pride, his role in the first flight, a testament to Malcolm's trust. Nora's reforms dismantled Ascendair's toxic culture, replacing elitist policies with equitable guidelines, seating based on booking order, not status, and transparent complaint systems. The $3 million fund was dissolved, its records fueling the SEC probe with indicted executives facing prison. Their tailored suits, a futile shield. Maya's follow-up article, Horizon Air, a new standard, detailed the airline's inclusive hiring with 40% of leadership from underrepresented groups, a model for corporate America. The Smithsonian requested Lila's video for a corporate accountability exhibit. Its caption, "Truth grounds arrogance." Social media celebrated posts trending. Horizon's the blueprint, and Malcolm's legacy soars. Malcolm's personal transformation was profound. He mentored youth through the Equity Initiative meeting. Jamal Carter, the lawyer from Another Story whose community center aligned with Malcolm's vision. Their shared resilience, a bond. His South Side apartment, once a quiet refuge, buzzed with calls, reporters, CEOs. A senator inviting him to a regulatory summit. He accepted, speaking plainly. "I wasn't invisible. You chose not to see me. Respect isn't a privilege. It's a right." The room stood, their applause heavy. His words a clarion call. Horizon Air's stock soared, its flights booked solid, its cabins stages for respect, its crew a family united by Malcolm's ethos. The Gulfstream G700, now a flagship jet, carried him to global summits. Its Horizon logo, a promise kept. Kyle's volunteering became a fixture. His mentorship, a quiet atonement. His redemption, a testament to Malcolm's belief in second chances. The Carvers funded scholarships. Their influence a humbled force for good. Lila, now a Horizon spokesperson, inspired whistleblowers, her blog, a platform for the voiceless. Nora's leadership earned her a board seat, her Navy dress a symbol of change. At a Chicago youth center, Malcolm spoke to teens, his charcoal suit a quiet inspiration. "Never let anyone dim your light," he said, his voice echoing his tarmac stand. A girl, inspired, sketched a jet with Horizon on its wing. Her drawing, donated to a local museum, captioned "Power and Truth." Horizon Air thrived, its 50 jets, a fleet of hope. Its culture, a model for industries worldwide. Malcolm, no longer unseen, walked the hangar. His sneakers soft on the concrete. His smile, a quiet victory. Kyle, last heard mentoring in obscurity, was a footnote. His hubris, a cautionary tale. Malcolm's legacy wasn't in the jets or the headlines, but in the workers he uplifted, the systems he transformed, and the truth that soared higher than any plane. The suggestion box overflowed, one note reading, "Keep leading, Mr. Reed." He did his silent strike now, a visible beacon, inspiring a world to see the power in every shadow. Have you ever been underestimated for who you are? Share your story in the comments, and let's inspire each other. Hit that subscribe button for more epic tales that'll change how you see the world. This is PA Storytime, and we're just getting started.